Good afternoon, and welcome to the Veracast Plum Computer Consulting monthly webinar series. As always, we will be recording this, and we will post it to our YouTube channel and website later this week. My name is Kristen Baumgartner, and it is my pleasure to welcome you and introduce you to our friends from Nuvei. Some of you might also remember them as Paya, and this team is excellent at solving payment headaches, and they are going to show you some of the greatest solutions. I'm delighted to introduce you to both David Pooley and Brandy Wilson. They're going to show you how their AR software with Customer Portal and Click to Pay. Sorry, guys, I'm just naming a few highlights. I had to get those in there. Might be the right solutions for your organization. With that, I'm going to hand it over to David to take it away.
And thank you, Kristen. Again, my name is David Pooley. I'm the partner account manager from Nuvei, assigned to Brackus Bloom. Again, with me today is our director of ERP, Brandy Wilson. And in the background is Jen Ranmal, our senior director of channel partnerships. Again, today we're going to present to you our AR automation and payment solution. But first, let's talk a little bit about who we are. So who are we? We are a global payments provider with a dedicated unit. That's this team focused on payments inside of the ERP. As Kristen said, we used to be named Paya, and Paya was actually born out of Sage Payments. Along came Nuvei, a global payments provider based out of Montreal, Canada, and acquired Paya. So we ran as Paya, a Nuvei company for a couple of years. And now, just recently, we merged fully into Nuvei. So now we're known as Nuvei. What do? We take the complexity out of payments for customers with the solution that supports all payment types globally. We do that by keeping the ERP, the user inside of the ERP for their invoicing. And we provide the buyers a very user-friendly customer portal, which Brandy will show you during the demonstration today. So now that you know that, let's talk a little bit more about who Nuvei is. Like I said before, Paya was acquired by Nuvei at the end of 2022. We're in over 200 plus global markets, 51 local acquiring markets. We manage over 800 payment methods, including cryptocurrencies, 150 different types of currencies. The company is comprised of over 2,400 team members, and 89% of our transactions are done through e-commerce. You can see down below there at the slides, we have key relationships with all the credit card vendors, including MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express. So how do you work with us, right? So if you, the customer, have an interest in taking a look at our solution, we help you by assigning you an account manager to work with. Initially, they're going to take a look at your requirements, review your needs, review pricings of our solutions. And then we're going to connect you with someone from Brandy's team, an ERP specialist, to do a deeper needs analysis. And if need be, do a solution demo like you'll see here later today. Once you've done that, we're going to help you through the application process. The account manager will take you through that. And once you're through the application process and approved, we're going to turn you back over to the product specialists, and they're going to help you onboard, install the solution, configure the solution, and then go ahead and train your team on how to most effectively use it with your day-to-day processes. So now let's do a little deeper dive into who those product specialists are. I'm going to turn it over to Brandy to kind of go through her team and talk a little bit more about her team. So Brandy?
Thank you, David. On the products team, really what our goal is to make sure that when our payments people are, suggesting features for adding payments into the ERP, that it makes sense within that ERP, right? So my team is built on ERP knowledge and built from ERP specialists. We are an ERP first, payment second team. So each product manager, director of product, or product specialist actually is an expert within their particular ERP, whether that's Sage 100, Sage Intacct, or any of the other Sage ERPs that are out there on the market. So we bring a really deep knowledge of how those ERPs work, how the data flows through them, so that when we add those payments into the system, it all makes sense within the data flow, within the process flow. We have a dedicated team spent on solutioning additional pieces, things like e-commerce. How do we make sure that we can do an online transaction but get that back into your ERP in a way that makes sense? And this expert team, we're the ones who are going to work with you through the entire implementation process. We're going to demo for you. We're going to go through that needs analysis for you. And then our team will be with you from installation through initial support to make sure that your process of going live is nice, smooth, and really easy for you.
All right. Thank you, Brandy. So let's discuss some of the payment trends we're seeing in 2025. So 39% of businesses are saying they're losing time and money due to the inability to integrate their payment systems with their ERP. 37% of small businesses cite high processing fees as a cash flow challenge. With that in mind, let's take a deeper look at some of the pain points involved with AR systems. A lot of companies are running with manual AR systems, which then lead to invoice tracking and reconciliation errors. By automating the AR systems, you reduce those manual errors. Cash flow issues or delayed payments on the invoices, which leads to a high DSO or day sales outstanding. By automating AR, you improve cash flow, faster payments with automation. Limited payment options for your customers causes friction, right? What we do is we provide a self-serve portal that allows the customer to go into the portal, make the payments how they want to make it, giving them a much more enhanced experience. Poor visibility is another issue, right? With manual systems, there's a lack of real AR insights, which leads to difficult forecasting. By giving you the real-time AR visibility, we provide you with better forecasting. By automating the solution, we alleviate a lot of these pain points. So next, here is a list of all the ERPs that we integrate to, some of the feature functionalities of each. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brandy. She's going to kind of walk you through the product sets and then do a quick demonstration, and then we'll answer your questions. So Brandy, at this point, I'm going to turn things over to you.
All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate that lead in there. Now, as you guys can see, when we talk about integrating into Sage and other ERPs, we really kind of run the gambit. Now, just like David mentioned earlier, we began life as Sage Payment Solutions. We were a division of Sage. And so you'll notice that on this list, we are dominating kind of that Sage space. So, 50, 100, 300, 500, Intact, just to name a few, all of those have basically integrated native payments, or as near native as humanly possible. We are also introducing our Commerce Suite into the mix here. So those of you who maybe have been processing with Paya Nuvei for years on the credit card inside of Sage 100, that absolutely is still viable. It's a great solution, but we are expanding those offerings with the Commerce Suite to kind of bring things into the current century, allowing customers to pay online and all of those, kind of bells and whistles that we hear about. We wanted to make sure we're bringing those to your Sage ERPs as well. You can see down here, there are some non-Sage ERPs that we're in as well: Acumatica, Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, QuickBooks Online. We really try to make sure that we cover the entire market, but Sage is really where we live. It's where we started, and it's really where we live, especially my team, because we specialize in 100 and Intact. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time reading slides to you guys because I'd rather really show you what's going on. But when we talk about embedding payments inside of Sage 100 and Sage Intact, we're really talking about two branches. One is the integrated payments. These are the embedded payments, those payments that are happening directly inside of the ERP. In Sage 100, that might be in your AR invoices, in your cash receipts, taking authorizations or payments against orders before they become invoices. And the same goes for Sage Intact. And you can actually see I have a screenshot up here of how processing happens within Sage Intact for those of you out there who are using that system. But we're providing credit card, ACH, and card present transactions within the systems. So you can actually have a counter sale system as well, where if you don't need a full-blown POS system, we can actually offer card present transactions for you where your customers can swipe, chip, or tap their cards in order to make those payments. And as a part of this, all of the GL postings happen during the normal transaction process. So in Sage Intacct, those are direct postings. In Sage 100, those go through journal updates, and we honor the process of the ERP that we're working in. So we're never going to automatically update a cash receipt inside of Sage 100, but we will generate it for you so that that's ready to go when you're ready to push your cash receipts journal. Now, the second branch is the Commerce Suite. Now, some of you may know this as Click to Pay, as it's something we used to call it. But as the years have gone by, the Click to Pay system has really become more of a Click to Pay functionality as a part of a larger suite of products. The Commerce Suite is that larger suite of products. It's going to include your AR automation. That's your payment links, your customer portal, your Click to Pay functionality. It's also going to be AR financing. It's going to be surcharging. So with the Commerce Suite, what we're really looking at here is extending the ERP's native functionality, meaning anything that exists inside of the Sage 100 or the Sage Intacct system today that a customer might be taking advantage of, or a merchant might be taking advantage of. Parent-child relationships between customers, the ability to do terms discounting and push those discounts out to the customers if they pay faster, again, lowering that DSO that David was talking about. All of those features that exist inside of the ERP, we're going to make sure that they're also honored on the online system in the platform. So a customer can pay their invoice early and take advantage of that discount. We also work to expand that functionality. So things that the ERP doesn't necessarily provide, we're going to make sure that we're offering that in order to increase the flexibility of payment offerings for the merchant to give their customers. That's going to include things like surcharging. When we talk about those terms discounts, we can actually limit which payment types are eligible for that. So maybe we are willing to offer a terms discount, but not if a customer is going to pay via credit card because of the fees associated. We don't want to get that double ding. So we can actually help the customer make a payment, but also not take away any of the control that the merchant may have or need over that particular transaction. So what does this mean for the merchant and the customer? The idea of the Commerce Suite is to make things easier for the customer to pay the merchant. We want to enable that self-service to make sure that customers can get out onto the website, pay on their own pace, and still take advantage of things like terms discounting and whatnot. We want to make sure that we have a wide flexibility of payments, and we want to make sure that all of that history stays in the system. Now, how do we do that and still keep the merchant in control? It's all about communication, and that should be no surprise. That's the key to any relationship. And the relationship between the Commerce Suite platform and the ERP is also based on communication. The ERP can talk to the Commerce Suite constantly. The Commerce Suite can talk back to the ERP. We're making sure that the data flow between the two is going to make everything match up so that what the customer sees is what the merchant expects them to see. Of course, we're going to control costs. So we're going to be able to offer those advanced features like managing how a customer can pay while taking advantage of discounts, recapturing some of those fees so that the merchant, lowers their cost of doing business. And of course, the main idea here, let's enable customers to pay faster so that merchants get that DSO down and get that money sooner. And the way that we do that is those flexible payment options, making it very easy for the customer through link presentment to access those invoices and make those payments, and automate some of the more time-consuming tasks like collections. So when we talk about that commerce suite, we've talked a little bit about the AR automation, which I will show you guys during the product demo portion. And there are some other pieces to that. AR financing is a new piece of the puzzle that has been a really great option for many of our merchants. We have partnered with a company called Conmon. They're very big in the financing space, and they essentially help us extend short-term loan slash credit out to customers based on their outstanding AR accounts. And so, this is great for merchants who have, let's say, a cash flow imbalance. Maybe they're a seasonal company where their cash flow may go down in the summer and up in the winter, or vice versa. This gives the ability for merchants to bridge that gap, bridge that cash flow gap, and make sure that they can use the value of their outstanding AR in order to help get through those leaner times. We can process all of this directly through the Commerce Suite Finance dashboard, and everything funds into the bank based on the offer that Conmon has extended to you. So this is a great way to kind of get access to a line of credit that is backed by your own AR. And the Commerce Suite is going to make sure that everything is written back into the ERP for that gap accounting properly. And so what we've done here with the Commerce Suite is really taken an approach where we've looked at all of the different industries that are using payments and how can we make these features really important and really a vital part of your day-to-day business. Surcharging, it is such a big topic today. Every merchant wants to recoup as much of those credit card or ACH account processing fees as they can. We give you the ability to do that in a way that is fully transparent to your customers, and we'll make sure that we take a look at that during the demo. Capture for more. This is essential for many of our distribution and manufacturing merchants. The ability to authorize a credit card for a certain amount, let's say the cost of goods, and then capture that at invoice for possibly more, whether that's the application of additional taxes or freight charges. We may need to capture more than the original pre-authorization, and we do allow merchants to do that. Flexible payment options in general, partially paying invoices, multi-paying invoices, issuing credit memos and debit memos. We do allow for all of those to happen within the ERP system, and the not only is the payment side going to handle that, but so will the Commerce Suite. So we're going to make sure that those more complex workflows are really handled by the system and accounted for. And then multiple document support. When we talk about taking payments, it's not just about invoices anymore. It's about taking deposits on sales orders. It's about being able to see quotes and estimates, or sales invoices versus AR invoices, or even prepayments and credits on account. We are supporting each of those documents. So everywhere that we would expect to see account activity for a customer, we're going to be able to see that on the Commerce Suite system as well. Now, I am actually going to pop over into my Sage 100 system here, and let's take a look at what we're talking about, right? Because, it's all well and good to talk about these systems, but seeing them is really something that can't be beat there. Now, the way that the system works is customers are enabled for the Commerce Suite to generate links on their transactions. This is actually done directly within the ERP. So I'm going to select customer Brandy here because I like to pick on her. And what you can see here is under the Paya options, we have this screen where we're basically telling the system how this customer is going to interact with that online system. What documents are they going to see in that online system? Invoices, that's going to be sales invoices as well as AR invoices. Sales orders, sales quotes, finance charges. If you're using Sage 100's finance charge system, you'll know that it creates invoices that aren't really invoices. They're -FC transactions. We're going to sync those into the portal as well. Merchants can also enable pay by statement. This is a fantastic feature that makes it very easy for customers to look at a statement and all of the transactions associated with that statement and choose which ones to pay as they go. So the idea here is to set up a customer with those defaults so that we know exactly what we expect to see on the portal, so that whoever's doing the entry of, say, the AR invoice or the sales invoice or the sales order doesn't have to know the settings for each and every customer. We're setting those defaults so that things happen automatically. That's the way we like to do it. So if I do a new invoice to customer Brandy here, we're going to go ahead and sell her something there. Now, what you're going to notice, those of you who use the totals tab in either invoice entry in AR or sales order, you're going to notice there's a couple of new fields. This is the most important one. This is the one that tells the system, hey, this customer's invoice is supposed to sync online. Now, this is where we are going to see all of that automation happen. So based on this customer, we know that this customer wants to get online links for their invoices. That's automatically checked. And when I hit accept, the system is going to kick off and do everything that it needs to do in order to sync that. Now, I am going to apologize ahead of time. My dev system has been a little bit slow today, but we are going to save this invoice. We're going to PDF it and upload it into the online platform. And what you're going to notice is down here at the bottom, I actually have a live status of this invoice and whether or not it is synced. Green check mark means we're good to go. Now, if I hover over this, what you are going to see is a link. Now, this link is what we call the anonymous payment link. How you deliver this link to your customer is completely up to you. Those of you who use paperless office, you can actually just include this link in your electronic delivery, and it's going to provide your customer with a way to pay. And we'll look at that in just a second. This link can also be embedded on your Crystal report. So the actual report form that you're using for your invoices, you can embed that link on there so that the customer can get that PDF and see it there. And then as a third alternative, we actually do offer an advanced notification system where you can have the platform actually send those notifications out to the customer automatically, presenting those links to the customer in an email format that you get to determine. Now, when the customer receives that link, this is the page that they're going to be taken to. So you can see here, this is a branded payment page, but it's branded to you. So it's branded to the merchant. There's no Paya logo. There's no Nuvei logo. We want to make sure that when we're looking at this particular screen, the customer has the confidence that they are working with you. They have your name, your logo. The original document PDF is attached to this payment link. And when I drill down into that, I'm actually going to see my Sage 100 form. We're not recreating this. This is coming directly from your Sage 100 system, so it is branded to you. The same goes for Sage Intact. Instead of using a Crystal report, we use your printed document template, but same idea. We're going to upload that original PDF document. Now, we call this the anonymous link, not because we don't know who's paying, because obviously we have our customer information here, but because the customer does not have to have an account or login in order to pay. So we have linked in all of the information necessary to where if the customer chooses to make a payment against this particular invoice, they can do that without having to log into another website. You'll notice here, there is a processing fee that we're assessing. This is that surcharge that we talked about. And again, fully transparent to the customer. I can see as customer Brandy that my invoice amount is $179, but I have a processing fee of $537. That is a 3% fee, and that is the cap for credit card transactions surcharges. Now, if I switch over to ACH, the system is going to do a live recalculation, and I have my system set up to charge a $1.50 flat fee for ACH. So regardless of the amount I'm paying, I charge that $1.50 flat fee. This is what gives that full transparency to the customer so that they can see exactly what they're paying and how their payment method choice affects that total. The customer can go ahead and enter their information here. And because we do not have this behind a username and password, what you'll notice is even though I've made many, many payments this way, I do have to enter my information during the time of payment. And that's because we are not going to save this information without that user account to associate it with. So this is, think of this like a guest checkout. It's a one-time payment against this invoice where we can go ahead and process everything, but we do have to enter all of that information as the customer. Now I can submit that payment. the gateway is going to respond back. And as the customer, I am going to see that this was successful. I will also get a decline message if it was not. So I have full transparency on whether or not this transaction actually processed through to my card. And on the merchant side, we're going to make sure that they are notified of this as well, and everybody receives a receipt for this transaction. Now, the other option for your customers is to allow them to have customer-facing portal accounts. I can sign into Click to Pay, and what I'm going to see is an overview of my account with this merchant. I can see invoices outstanding, sales orders that have been uploaded that I haven't made payments against, and anything credit-wise, anything like that is going to actually flow through into this. Now, you'll notice that I actually have a payment already registered for the anonymous link payment that we just made. All payments are going to flow into this account, regardless of whether they're made through an anonymous link or through this portal account. It's all based on the customer and how it associates inside of Sage. One thing you'll notice is I do have the ability to download my receipts. So receipts are customer generated when those payments go through. And this PDF is going to be an exact copy of the email receipt that would have been sent to this customer. This is a great feature because instead of merchants calling you, instead of customers calling you and asking you to resend their receipts, they actually have access to all of them throughout history through here or through the My Payments tab. And so we can see all of the payment history that's been run through the online portal system or through anonymous links for this customer, and we can drill down into these as well. So we can actually drill down to view the invoice or invoices, sales orders, etc., that were paid on a particular transaction. That's going to include the fee recovery, which is fantastic because if your customer is reconciling their AP to their credit card transactions, you of course will always have some questions about why this charge, what's the difference between what I'm seeing in AP and my credit card. This gives them the ability to research that on their own and then process that on their side without having to get you guys involved. Now, one of the biggest topics today inside of, the payments world, aside from surcharging, is of course the fact that fraud is rampant. Customers more and more do not want to hand over their payment information. The days of the written down credit card authorization form are mostly gone. And anymore, even giving merchants information like ACH accounts or credit card accounts over the phone is something that customers are reticent to do. Portals allow customers to maintain control over that data and enter tokenized ACH or credit card accounts to be used within the portal. So this is where if a customer didn't like the fact that they had to enter enter credit card information or ACH account information each time they process on the anonymous link, this is what's going to give those customers the ability to tokenize that payment method and save it so that they can use it on payments in the portal. If I come over to my activity, I can see all of the transactions that I have posted into my portal for this merchant, and I can see credits as well. So you'll notice that I can select credits here, but I can't refund those to myself. So we're never going to let the customer take money out of your pocket, but they can use those credits in order to pay outstanding invoices. So we can offset those amounts. I'm going to go ahead and begin payment. And again, we're going to see this payment screen that's much like what we saw on the anonymous link, except of course, I have multiple invoices that I'm paying here. And I can go ahead and use one of those saved payment methods. So it's going to autofill that information for me. And of course, CAPTCHA is going to make me fail a CAPTCHA because I always do. Yep. So we do have CAPTCHA verification on all of our payment screens. We do have to have customers occasionally confirm that they are not robots. And we do have the ability for customers to schedule their payments. So maybe my normal payment run wouldn't be until Friday. I can actually come out and schedule this payment to occur on Friday, and it will make sure that the system is ready to go. Friday morning, it will run that transaction for me. Again, I'm going to submit payment. We're going to talk to the gateway, and the system's going to mark those as closed because this was a successful transaction. Now, as far as the customer is concerned, of course, this is all great. They're done. They're good. There's still a piece of this that we need to bring back into Sage. And so that's where we're really going to come through and we are going to allow the system to import those payments as cash receipts. And how we do that is completely up to you. There's basically 3 levels of automation that we provide. Full automation uses Sage's scheduled tasks in order to generate those cash receipt transactions automatically. Inside of the cash receipts entry, if you were to make a new transaction batch, we can prompt you to bring those payments in. Or in my case, I like to use the payment screen because I'm a control freak and I want to make sure that I have the ability to import these when I want to. Now you'll notice I am also a terrible bookkeeper because I have a handful of these out here that have not been imported yet. But we can see the 2 payments that I actually made here online with you guys today. We have our anonymous link payment here, and we have our 2 invoice payment from the portal here. You'll also notice that the system is going to identify the payment type that comes in, and this is the payment type within Sage 100. So I actually have a separate credit card payment type for those payments coming from the portal, but I also have an ACH payment type, so I can see when ACH account information comes in as well. Now I can select these transactions to bring in. And what the system is going to do is it's going to make sure that it can create these transactions for me. Now you'll notice I'm going to get a yellow check mark here. And I did that intentionally because I wanted you guys to know, even though we are automatically generating these cash receipts for you, we're not doing that just kind of willy-nilly. We are going to make sure that it makes sense. So this is actually the invoice that we entered together, and I did not update that within Sage 100. So instead of doing what I said and creating a cash receipt and having to make it a prepayment, the system says, hey, hold up, you need to go ahead and update that invoice before you create that cash receipt. It's going to make sure that we're not creating more accounting work for you. And then to pull that full circle, just so that you guys can see it, this cash receipts entry is going to be exactly what you would expect it to be for these transactions. So I can come out and look at this. It is going to be a credit card transaction. If I had brought in that ACH payment, it would have come in under the ACH heading. When I look at that deposit, it looks exactly as you would expect. I have that amount received. On the lines, I can see the invoices that I paid with that transaction. And I do have one additional line here. That is for that fee recovery. And that is because we are putting that into a GL account where that can be accounted for properly. You get to designate that GL account. So we're not doing anything outside of your normal process. You can either offset your existing credit card fees account, or you can have a separate recovery account so that you have a nice contra for that. And then finally, we are bringing in all of the payment information. So just like if we had processed this directly inside of Sage, we're going to have the information about that payment, and we can save it if it doesn't already exist. We can see the 6-digit authorization code issued by the gateway, and we can see the transaction ID that was associated with that transaction that matches what the customer received on their receipt. So we are going to make sure that this all comes full circle inside of Sage so that even though we're enabling the customer to kind of handle the payment transaction so that you don't have to, you're not losing any data. All of this goes into the Sage data files and can be reported on just like every other piece of data that you have. Now, I do want to hop back over into the portals real quick because merchants do have a portal that they have available to them as well. And the most important part of this portal is not it's not going to be about looking at invoices or seeing what's outstanding and whatnot, because you have Sage 100 for that. That's your source of truth. What is important from the merchant portal side is your ability to cement that consumer confidence by branding the portal. That's going to include things like your logo that can be updated at any time. We can choose the display that we want to put next to that logo. If we don't want to have the verbiage at all, that's fine. We can use the custom or the merchant account name here. We can do things like change the font here as well. So we can really control how this appears to our customers in a way that's going to be consistent with the branding that we put out there just in general. We want to make sure that the customer feels comfortable that what they're looking at is you. So we want them to know that they're paying you. In addition to that, many different types of notifications can be customized within these portals. Receipts can be set up and customized here and edited so that those are set up exactly how you would like them to. That can include entering your logo. It can be a bar at the top, a graphical bar that links out to your website for new products, new services, upcoming events, whatever it happens to be. And of course, you can just add additional verbiage here as you need to. So we can very, very easily customize this experience for the customer. Now, in this same type of editor, you can also have notifications. So you do have the ability to set up different types of notification forms to communicate to a customer when they have a new transaction, as their due dates approach for invoices and as their invoices go past due. So we can actually help you with the collection side too, so that if you have a small AR team, nobody's having to sit and go through 15 accounts and print a bunch of invoices and, custom write these emails. We can notify a customer both as their invoices come due on a custom schedule, as well as after that invoice has gone past due, so that we make sure the customer is aware of that. And link presentment becomes a huge part of that. It helps lower that DSO to give that customer a link every time we communicate about that invoice. And then finally, email settings allow you to actually make it so that all of the communications coming from the Nuvei portal come from you. It can be at a branded domain. So it can be, click to pay at merchant.com or AR at merchant.com. It's going to make sure that you guys have the ability to, again, just reinforce to the customer that this is legitimate. It is coming from you and they are paying you as a part of this process. And so through that, we really are trying to make sure that we bring everything full circle for you guys. We want to make sure that we are giving you as many options as possible for keeping control while still enabling customers to do that self-service and kind of take you out of the middle of the payments process. And I'm going to hand it back over to David.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So, everybody, there is our contact information. There's mine, there's Brandy's, and we've also included our VP of B2B product, Rebecca Mergner's. If you have any questions about what you've seen today, feel free to reach out to Veracus. They're your first contact. But if you need to, here is our information. You can reach out to us as well. Krista, I think it's time probably to open up to see if we have any questions.
Yeah, if anyone that is participating does have any questions that have not been asked yet, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A box or in the chat. One did come over that I wanted to pose by the group. For a solution like this, whether, and I know this can vary depending on the ERP, but what are we looking at as far as what does an implementation look like? General time frame? How long does it take to bring this kind of solution up to fruition for one of the customers?
Brandy, that's probably your team that's going to handle that. Can you talk about like the timelines?
Absolutely. And it's an excellent question. As far as that goes, getting you guys started with integrated payments. So those are the payments that are happening directly inside of Sage 100. We can literally do that same day. As we get your credentials, literally all we have to do is plug them in and do the quick configuration. We can do that within an hour, and you can be taking payments directly within Sage 100. Sage Intacct does require an install in order to do that, but still we can do that same day, not a big deal. So integrated payments is super, super easy. We can get you guys enabled for taking payments inside of your ERP pretty much immediately. Now, the Commerce Suite is a little bit more complex, only because, there's some customer enablement pieces that have to happen and things like that, but we're happy to go at your pace. That is something that can be implemented in a week or less, and we have merchants who really take the time to discuss that with their customers, and they go through a really specific process with them, and maybe it takes them a couple of weeks to a month. But ultimately, we can move as quickly as you guys are willing to move. It's just a matter of that customer enablement piece that will be down to you guys and how you want to handle that. But it's honestly, it's not a heavy lift, and our specialists have done this many, many times at this point. So, we really have the process down pat. We just, we can go at your pace for that implementation.
Thanks, Brandy. I, again, wanted to thank David and Brandy very much for your time today. It does not look like we've got any more questions coming in. Is there anything else you guys would like to impart to the group?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. But again, there is our contact information. If there's more questions that anybody has, maybe after the fact, maybe someone reviewing the recordings, feel free to reach out. But again, I strongly recommend that everybody reach out to the Veracast team first, and they can get us involved in the discussions. But here again is our contact information if you'd like to speak with us directly.
All right, Brandy, excellent presentation. I think you answered a lot of questions off the bat there. David, excellent information that you brought as well as far as the trends and what you guys are seeing. I would like to again thank you both for your time this afternoon. And of course, thank you to all who attended. We know your time is very valuable, and we thank you for spending some of it with us. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to the VBCC team, and we are always here to help. Until next time, thank you both again, David and Brandy, and everyone, please
Thank
have a
you.
great afternoon.
Thank you.
Take care, all.